This is WPPM LP Philadelphia, 106.5 FM. I'm Tara Lake, and you're listening to a Philadelphia Poetry Moment featuring Frances E.W. Harper. Frances E.W. Harper was an African-American poet, abolitionist, orator, educator, women's rights advocate, and novelist, and a vital figure in Philadelphia history. Born in 1825 in Baltimore, Maryland, to free parents, Frances Ellen Watkins was born free in a slavery-bound state, but was orphaned by age 3. She was raised by an aunt and uncle who were prominent abolitionists and leaders in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. By age 20, the young writer had published her first book of poetry, making her one of a small handful of African-American women ever published up to that time in the United States. By the 1850s, Watkins had become a notable figure in Philadelphia public life and progressive activism. She married Fenton Harper in 1860 and resettled in Philadelphia after his death in 1864. Watkins Harper remained in Philadelphia until her death on February 22, 1911. Following the Civil War, on a tour of the South, Watkins Harper met a number of newly freed African Americans, learning about their struggles and hopes and collecting their experiences, including the sexual exploitation and psychological terrorism inherent in the slavery system. Published in 1872 during the Reconstruction era, Harper's Sketches of Southern Life introduced readers to Aunt Chloe, an amalgam of Southern elder freedwomen who doled out wisdom and recalled the evils she had experienced in slavery. From that collection, here is one of the best-known Aunt Chloe poems, Learning to Read. Very soon the Yankee teachers came down and set up school. But oh, how the Rebs did hate it. It was again their rule. Our masters always tried to hide book learning from our eyes. Knowledge didn't agree with slavery. 'Twould make us all too wise. But some of us would try to steal a little from the book and put the words together and learn by hook or crook. I remember Uncle Caldwell, who took pot liquor fat and greased the pages of his book and hid it in his hat. And had his master ever seen the leaves upon his head, he'd have thought them greasy papers, but nothing to be read. And there was Mr. Turner's Ben, who heard the children spell and picked the words right up by heart and learned to read them well. Well, the northern folks kept sending the Yankee teachers down, and they stood right up and helped us, though Rebs did sneer and frown. And I longed to read my Bible, for precious words it said. But when I begun to learn it, folks just shook their heads and said, there is no use trying. Oh, Chloe, you're too late. But as I was rising 60, I had no time to wait. So I got a pair of glasses and straight to work I went, and never stopped till I could read the hymns and testament. Then I got a little cabin, a place to call my own, and I felt independent as the queen upon her throne. Watkins Harper's work as an abolitionist, prohibitionist, and women's suffrage activist took her on lecture tours across the nation. But it was here, in Philadelphia, that Harper refused to give up her seat to ride in the colored section of a segregated Philadelphia trolley car in 1858, causing a scandal. Months later, the resolute Watkins published her poem, Bury Me in a Free Land, in the Anti-Slavery Bugle. Here is Frances E.W. Harper's Bury Me in a Free Land. Make me a grave where'er you will, in a lowly plain or a lofty hill. Make it among earth's humblest graves, but not in a land where men are slaves. I could not rest if around my grave I heard the steps of a trembling slave. His shadow above my silent tomb would make it a place of fearful gloom. I could not rest if I heard the tread of a coffle gang to the shambles led, and the mother's shriek of wild despair rise like a curse on the trembling air. I could not sleep if I saw the lash drinking her blood at each fearful gash, and I saw her babes torn from her breast, like trembling doves from their parent nest. I'd shudder and start if I heard the bay of bloodhounds seizing their human prey, and I heard the captive plead in vain as they bound afresh his galling chain. If I saw young girls from their mother's arms bartered and sold for their youthful charms, my eye would flash with a mournful flame, my death-paled cheek grow red with shame. I would sleep, dear friends, where bloated might can rob no man of his dearest right. My rest shall be calm in any grave, where none can call his brother a slave. I ask no monument, proud and high, to arrest the gaze of passers-by. All that my yearning spirit craves is bury me not in a land of slaves. Thank you for listening to A Philadelphia Poetry Moment featuring Frances E.W. Harper. I'm Tara Lake, and you're tuned in to WPPM LP, Philadelphia 106.5 FM.